Alright. My name is Adam and I'm going to talk to you about the mentally ill and incarceration rates. The largest mental health center in America is a huge compound in Chicago with people all suffering from mania, psychosis, and other mental disorders, all surrounded by high fences and barbed wire. Just one thing, it's a jail. I think that the root of mental illness is that people just don't understand it. If you don't experience it, whether personally or another individual, you really don't understand the true nature. If you don't have a family or a friend or anyone who has experienced mental illness, you can't understand it. Even though you read about it, you hear about these things, you just cannot understand it. People may think you're faking an illness to get away with things, or that just gives you a reason to commit crimes or act, ridiculous, or you're above the law, but, that is not the truth. That it is a chemical imbalance in people's brains that usually cause these things. And people have a problem with things that they don't understand. If you don't understand it, it causes fear. And fear causes people to act differently around you. And people act differently around people with mental disorders. And this is, it's true for everyone. It's true for families, friends. Cops treat the mentally ill different just because they don't know. I have a foster brother who is developmentally delayed, and every single day I see that people treat him differently. They don't like it when he comes up and talks to them. They think he's just being friendly. They think he's just being friendly, and they just don't see that. He's not wanting around kids, even though he just wants to play basketball with them, because they're, parents are afraid that he'll hurt their kids or he'll do something to them. I remember one time we were at the YMCA, and these 4 kids had come up to him. I thought they were going to play ball with him. They go up to him, they grabbed his basketball, and they threw it all the way across the court. And they just walked away laughing about it. And I remember Daryl, my foster brother, just had his head down and walked away. And for me, that really showcased how people treat the mentally ill. It shows that they don't understand. They don't think of them as people all the time, and so they treat them differently. The point of that story is to showcase just how, people do treat the mentally ill differently. When we bring us into the world of law enforcement, it doesn't change drastically. So first off, I'm going to talk to you about the mentally ill and the incarceration rates. After that, I want to talk to you about the police officers and how they treat the mentally ill patients. And then I would like to talk to you about how prisoners readjust to the real world. So the mentally ill get killed at 4 times the rate of the public. Why is that? Because the mentally ill don't respond the same to physical restraint. When the mentally ill get physically restrained, they act out. They become much more aggressive, but it's because they don't understand what's going on. They think that they're being trapped, they're being enclosed in an area. And, even though they look like me and you, they don't understand things the same way we do. When this happens, the mentally ill, they do react, and they kill police officers at a rate that's 6 times the rest of the population. They assault out of fear, and sometimes they do mean it. Being mentally ill is not a cop-out for everything. It's, some are genuinely bad people regardless of their illness, but some honestly don't know what's going on. But the perception is changed by the police. They think of them as criminals because in the street, you can't just diagnose someone with schizophrenia. It takes a long amount of time, and so I don't think police officers have proper training to get these prisoners to mental health facilities in time. And now I'd like to talk to you about officers and diagnosing mental illnesses. Officers sometimes get the name of street psychiatrists because of how they have a responsibility of diagnosing individuals so fast. They have very little training on this issue, and with social media, it's becoming a much more broad issue now. The police have a very large discretion at their disposal. If a crime's severe, they take the individual to jail because of how serious the crime was. If it's minor, they should be able to take them in for a mental health evaluation based on how the criminal acted. However, many of the individuals seem to get misdiagnosed. The officers may think the individual is on drugs or alcohol when in reality they have a mental illness that mimics the disease or the alcohol or the drugs. And then I would like to talk to you about the jails and how prisoners get treated when they're in jail, the mentally ill. The jails don't say no to criminals. If I got taken to jail, there's a possibility I'm mentally ill, but the officer thinks that I'll get proper treatment in the criminal justice system. They will take me to jail to then get help for my mental disorder from the jail. In reality, that doesn't happen as often as the cop thinks, and you just get put through the system. Unless it's a very obvious, diagnosis that they could make just like that. But a lot of the times, it's not severe enough to warrant that. And another reason that officers will take you to jail before they take you to the mental health facilities, because there's such a long wait to get psychiatric services, and the officer has to wait with you until you can put to jail. So it's easier for officers to send you that route. Often the people end up in jail and the system does them no favors. All these factors really contribute to jails being the largest mental health facilities. It's a growing problem that really does need to be addressed. Police training, mobile crisis teams, and coordination of mental health professionals and law enforcement could help prevent these issues, but it needs to be a coordinated effort to make this work. The issues will never really go away completely because the mentally ill, just the nature of it and how sporadic everything can be. You can't always diagnose someone, you can't always find out what's wrong with them, and you arrest someone at 2 a.m, you're going to think it's because of alcohol and not necessarily a mental disorder. There are some, that should stay in jail, and, they just get locked away because it's easier. All in all, prisons are a place where criminals are supposed to go. The speech was to inform you that prisoners sometimes do get mixed in with the mentally ill. Our system is progressing and developing, maybe raising some awareness about patients in these systems. We can all learn a little bit from prisoners in our prison system. One thing I wanted to show you was an infographic about the mentally ill. 1 in 5 adults do experience a mental illness in their life. Nearly 1 in 25 live with a serious mental illness, and it's shown by the people here. This is how many people do have a serious mental illness. 1 in 5 experience one at some time. 1/2 of chronic mental illnesses begin by the age of 14, and 3/4 of them have manifested by age 24. And that is it for this speech. Thank you.